Thank you, Soumitra, for taking time. And when you took the session today morning, I'm sure this topic was very new to a lot of people.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of people will come back to you and ask you further questions. For rest of the audience, will you like to explain what ABM is all about, the session that you took, and also about your company, what you do, what are you currently focusing on, and some future plans probably, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So account-based is a form of customer acquisition strategy where you first of all, make a list of pre-qualified, highly qualified accounts, and then you target them and you plan your targeting through them. So you treat each account as a market of its own, and your sales and marketing teams work together to develop relationships with in the whole journey, like developing relationships and taking to the in the advanced stages of your sales pipeline. While it's always been there, I mean, it has changed quite a bit in the last few years because of these multiple channels which have come in, and the intelligence that is available with different AI into the play. So the session was largely covered that how do you actually plan an ABM strategy, how do you build an ABM playbook or a framework for your company that you can use repeatedly. So that was what it was about.
And a bit about your company.
Yeah, so at a Playbook, we're in a inside sales success platform. So we use machine learning to prescribe sales teams which leads to follow up at what time and on which channel. So we essentially help sales organizations adopt more data-driven, more scientific sales processes and ensure that these sales processes are actually carried out by the across the organization. That's what we do. We typically focus in sales organizations which are trying to sell high-value deals, maybe $15,000 to $100,000 or $150,000 deals, to mid-market and enterprise clients, where typically the sales cycle would be beyond 30 days. Although we have customers who are successful with even 2 weeks to 4 weeks time frame, but the more complex the sales cycle is, the longer the sales cycle is, the more successful we are. The impact of the platform is higher.
And are you saying that ABM is only for high deals? Can ABM be looked at by all organization, or only certain type of organization should focus on ABM?
So I would say until couple of years back or 3 years back, the companies which were doing ABM, they were only going after deals which are probably $50,000 plus. The reason was that it takes a lot of amount of time in researching in these accounts and developing custom content to solve these problems for individual persona within that account. But over the recent years, there are new sort of models which have come in what we call one-to-many or one-to-few ABM programs, essentially programmatic ABMs where you can automate. So you essentially make a list of certain companies with similar attributes, similar problems, similar persona, similar organizational hierarchy, and you target them. So although it has come down, I don't think you need to have a $50,000 plus deal. You can start right from $15,000 if you're in the US market in developed countries, and if you're in, let's say, in India, where the salaries are not as high there, you can still work with a $10,000 offer. And this is, I'm talking about the lifetime value. So if you have a $500 subscription business, SaaS business, and you've got your LTV, and it's more than $10,000, so it's well worth the effort to. And in fact, I would say this is the only way to close deals, because for inbound, you get a lot of leads in the top of the funnel, but the leads don't actually regularly predictably convert. And for outbound, the responses, people have become blind to these outbound cold emails where you just spam people with cold emails. They don't work. So you need a very well orchestrated ABM strategy to capture these accounts.
Yeah, taking the point from there, if any company wants to implement a very structured inside sale process, and in the current format, the current market, how it is going to be more effective. So how do they start, and what is the right way of looking at that?
So I think the first point for me would be what I would advise is the targeting. I think most companies get targeting tool wrong. So targeting is just not knowing that, okay, this is my target market and I'll go to LinkedIn and search these companies. That it doesn't work like that. You have to segment your your target market into micro lists. And within those micro lists, you need to look for deep insights that you use to sort of score your accounts even before, sort of a lead scoring, but you do it before even you launch your campaign, so that you are able to identify that who are the businesses who are most likely to close and who are going to be more successful with your product comparatively. So I would start there, create a scoring framework which can be used over and over again, and that's where I would start. And after that step, the next would be that you identify the key players, that who are the personas that you want to target, who are the people in your organization who are best suited to establish those relationships with those key personas. And the rest, I think, and in all these stages there are various tech tools that you have to use. Like for instance, you have to use the data intelligence tools while you're building the targeting list. While you're building the relationships, you need to figure out which are the channels you're going to use, how you're going to use automation, and that's where tools like Playbook AI sort of helps you. And finally you actually measure how your campaigns are working, and then you optimize. So that would be the starting point.
And this is an area where a lot of people spend money in reaching out to new customers. They do a lot of activities. But since you have worked with so many companies, what do you think are common mistakes that marketing and sales people are still doing, and which probably some of our audience can look at it, and if they are doing it, they can correct? So some of the common mistakes that you see.
So I see, first of all, targeting again. I think most of the businesses are getting the targeting wrong. Second, top mistakes would be that they are not creating content which is highly personalized, right? So if you're doing a deep research into the insight, so I get a common question asked that how many times do you follow up a customer? Like how many cold emails do you send? So my answer is that it depends on the total number of unique insights that you have been able to generate. So you can't really just say that, hey, just checking in, it doesn't work like that. So you need to have unique insights, unique value proposition to add at every touch point, number one. Number two, so you have to be omni-channel. You have to be, very insights driven, like very, very contextual information. Targeting, you've got to get it right. And the another mistake that I see, I think companies do, is that they don't qualify. They don't have a very good qualification process. So I think the generally what we have been seeing, the band kind of a framework, I think in today's day and world it doesn't really work. So for instance, if you're selling to an organization who has, there are interoperability of different systems, so you need to find adoption fit as well. So there should be, for every stage of the funnel, you need to have different qualification parameters, and you need to qualify before you actually push the leads to the next stage. So if you get the qualification done properly, and if you follow this all 4 steps, omni-channel, personalized messages, and getting targeting, good qualification, I think you do very well.
And when you said qualification, do you qualify only at the starting, or you qualify at different part of the funnel as well?
Throughout the funnel. I'll give you an example. So what we do is that we do discovery calls, and during the discovery calls, we would typically ask a question that what's the number one sales problem you're facing, right? So you'll have to find your question, that what's the problem that you solve. So and you ask all the different questions where you understand whether there is a fit or not. So that's qualification number 1. In fact, that's qualification number 2, because the first one is the targeting, right? When I'm doing targeting, I'm qualifying them before building the list. The second qualification is that what I do is that before we do a demonstration, and this is another point I would give, especially to SaaS companies who do demonstrations, is that you have to always sort of personalize the demos to every customer, right? And once the demonstration is over, you can then go back to the questions that you had asked them in the discovery call. And so prior to setting up the demo, you can set some OKRs, right? What are the objectives and key results that they're trying to solve? At the end of the demonstration, you can ask them again that, does this demo fulfill the objectives and key results that you have? And these OKRs also need to be very user specific group, because you might do 2 or 3 demos, from one user group to other user group. I'm talking especially about the enterprise sales cycle, right? So you do this, and then you move to the next step, and so every stage you have to actually qualify. As it depends on the total number of stages that you have in the funnel, and you qualify them essentially in every stage.
And this is the exact reason why I love Digital Success Summit, because you get doers who are doing these activities on a day-to-day basis to share their knowledge, and you can't get anything better than this. And my next question is about the people who want to start their career, or who wants to know more about ABM or anything inside the sales. Are there good platforms where they can go and learn, or websites where they can go and learn? Because in last few years, there's more demand for ABM related knowledge.
Right. So yeah, I mean, as you just said, it's just last couple of 2 or 3 years where a lot of demand has generated in ABM. So quite frankly speaking, I can't really tell a go-to resource right now. It's just that you spend time, read everything that is there, Twitter, social media, Quora, all these different communities, and then you practice. Right? Because I don't think that there's still a place where that's the authority on ABM yet.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people have learned like this, but probably at some point in time we can create something where people can have a very structured approach toward ABM, and we can create more talent. And the last question, which is, since we are completing this is our second edition, so we are looking at 2 years, 2 tips. So what are the 2 tips that you want to share with the world, which has nothing to do with digital or any field that you want to share, which can impact people's life?
So it's probably very cliched tips, I would say. So one is, I would say, to become successful at anything, like whether you want to succeed in business or whether you want to marry the girl of your dreams. 2 things, be persistent and don't commit. The second one is that don't commit a mistake that you have done twice. Like just 2 things and you'll achieve anything in life. Health, marriage, business, everything would get sorted.
Persistence and don't commit the same mistake. Yeah, I remember writing an article that mistakes are often mistaken. If you're doing it for the first time, it's not a mistake. Doing it for the second time certainly is a mistake. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope everyone enjoyed this. And if you have more queries, send us. We will make sure that Soumitra is answering everything that we require. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.